Ministry of Education to launch school-based surveillance to monitor COVID-19 as Nile Special to sponsor games to a tune of 2.6 billion shillings. That is what we have for you in news tonight. My name is Michael Jordan Lukomwa. I come in with Yusuf Senyomo on the sign language corner. Thank you so much for joining in, and this is what we have for you tonight. Government of Uganda has resolved that all truck drivers with the negative PCR tests from neighboring countries be allowed into the country with immediate effect to deal with the over-congestion of trucks at the border points. According to Prime Minister Robin Nabanja, President Yoweri Museveni ordered for an emergency meeting to respond to long queues of vehicles at the Malaba-Busia border post.
The Prime Minister Nabanja says that the meeting attended by all the line ministries at the office of the Prime Minister, including the East African Community Affairs, Transport and Works, Health, the Attorney General, among others, resolved that negative PCR results within a period of 72 hours be respected.
Is that we have all agreed that our health officials at our port health should respect the PCR test from Kenya as long as it is within 72 hours period. Then we have also agreed that we must test everybody who is coming into the country, such that we can save Ugandans from these many variants that are coming into the country. We cannot allow to import such risky variants.
The Right Honourable says that the Cabinet will decide on the threat of COVID-19 testing being administered by private companies, but as for now, they will continue to implement the exercise. She assured Ugandans that they cannot allow in the country people who are not vaccinated and tested.
Make other decisions, whether it should be the private people to test or government. As of now, the status quo remains. The private people will continue to test, but we respect all those people who come in with a negative PCR test from Kenya. And we hope that will clear the long queue of trucker drivers at the border of Malaba and Busia.
The move seeks to protect Ugandans against numerous COVID-19 variants that have hit the world. She, however, warned Ugandans against forging vaccination certificates because the vaccines are for the good of the country.
Fellow Ugandans, I want you to desist from forgeries. Forging the test results, forging vaccination cards. When you are not yet vaccinated, go and vaccinate and get a valid certificate. It's not really good for you to keep forging, because then you will keep the lives of other people in danger and your life in danger. And therefore, I want to encourage Ugandans to go and vaccinate and stop forgeries. Otherwise, the law will catch up with you.
Currently, Kenya allows those within 14 days after testing, while Uganda allows people who have tested in a period of 72 hours. Irene Faith Nantongo, UBC News.
First Lady and Minister for Education and Sports, Mrs. Janet Museveni, has urged school managers to follow the school's reopening guidelines, which were earlier issued by the Ministry of Education and Sports. Addressing the nation from Rakitura, the First Lady warned some schools allegedly operating to the contrary ahead of the countrywide schools reopening starting next week on the 10th of January 2022.
Now, in regard to school charges, the guidelines provide that 1. S2 learners who had paid full fees when they reported back for that, reported back for the term which started on 31st May 2021. They should not be charged any more fees for the first term of 2022. I hope parents are listening, teachers are listening, and I wish you could perhaps sometimes get a pen and a paper and write down these guidelines, because I know that social media come up and bring up new ideas and they confuse you. But this is the Ministry of Education guidelines that we gave you before, and I'm repeating for you today. The guidance on school fees issued by the Ministry of Education and Sports should be adhered to by all schools, as I have just said. 2, the managers of schools are advised to put on hold for a while major infrastructure development projects that are funded from parents' contributions. 3, a negative COVID-19 test result should not be a precondition for allowing learners back in school, especially those ones who are under 18 years old who are not being vaccinated. And I'll say a little more of this. Therefore, schools should desist from charging parents for COVID-19 tests or requiring that learners present negative results of COVID-19 before they are allowed in school. We think that instead, schools shall effectively implement the COVID-19 standard operating procedures for education institutions and the COVID-19 school-based surveillance mechanism for early detection. The schools should also ensure that all staff and learners aged 18 years and above, those ones should be vaccinated. Schools in Kampala, in Mpigi, in Mukono, and Wakiso are further guided to follow the staggered reporting schedule issued by the Permanent Secretary to minimize congestion at transport terminals, which could put learners at the risk of COVID-19 infection and other challenges, like happened last time when the students were going home. I'd like to inform the country that the Ministry of Education and Sports is taking steps to comprehensively but fairly and equitably address the issue of unregulated school charges. Finally, I appeal to the managers of schools to appreciate the financial challenges that most families are being faced with under the current circumstances, and the spirit in which the Ministry of Education and Sports guidance on school charges for first term on 2022 is being made. Please understand. The ministry will not tolerate situations where parents are charged school fees twice, or where unrealistically high charges are imposed on parents. I thank you for listening to me, and I want to use this opportunity to welcome all students and learners back to school. We are all excited to see this happen in our country again, because we've waited long for it. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
First Lady and Minister for Education and Sports, Mrs. Janet Museveni, in her address as we prepare for schools to reopen in Uganda after a lockdown that affected the education system 2 years now. The Ministry of Education and Sports, in other news, has launched a school-based surveillance model to monitor COVID-19 related information in schools. State Minister for Primary Education, Dr. Joyce Muriku Kaduchu, while rolling out this program, reiterated on the creation of a team of 7 members in every school to provide daily updates about COVID-19 to the Ministry of Health. Abdul Nasir Luwama has the details to this.
The rolled-out school-based surveillance model intends to ensure safe reopening of schools and the well-being of students at school premises amidst the vigilance of COVID-19 management.
To happen is that the system is in the health department, we have the biostatistician who will enter the data. We will collect information about the children on daily basis from every school.
The Ministry of Education and Sports has directed all schools to establish a task force team of 7, including a student representative. This team will be mandated to update the Ministry of Health the status of COVID-19 management in schools daily through Health Center 3s.
All health center 3s will be alert. We are trying to link the schools to the nearest health center because primary schools are in parishes, secondary schools are in sub-county, and in sub-county we have the health center 3.
The digital systems have been generated by the ministry to enable the smooth operation of this initiative.
We have system, we have put in place how to prevent any information that may not be accurate, may be fake. So that is not a point to worry.
Minister Kaduchu has appealed to schools to handle isolated cases of teenage pregnancies as government guided. Local leaders, including RDCs, have been appealed to support the program by ensuring observance of schools in their vicinities.
This is clear. During this time of COVID, many girls gotten pregnant, they have delivered. For those girls who have delivered, we are calling them back to come to school. They have a second chance. Many of you ladies who are here, you might have also gotten second chance. The RDCs, the LC5, LC3, LC1, in every village, we need them to take stock quickly, those girls. Those who cannot come back to the formal education would be taken for skilling.
Several teachers and head teachers from both public and private schools have been trained about this initiative of school-based surveillance. UNICEF is at the forefront of creating awareness across the country.
Mental health training of the teachers, of the medical personnel, as well as of different volunteers who are like paramedicals is very important.
It is now approximately 2 years when schools are closed as a measure to control the spread of COVID-19. The reopening was announced by the government, slated on 10th of this month of January, and several initiatives have been brought to boost psychosocial well-being of stakeholders in the education sector. Abdul Nasir Lobama, UBC News.
Minister for Lands, Housing and Urban Development Judith Nabakoba has reiterated commitment in wiping out corruption and incompetence in the Lands Ministry. Nabakoba was responding to a stalemate caused by the IGG's investigations into the Uganda Land Commission.
4,000 certificates, the CCOs, were issued.
The Lands Minister Judith Nabakoba has recounted the 2021 ministry's journey.
Through the Uganda Land Fund, the ministry is enabling several lawful and bona fide Bibanja owners to acquire registered interests.
She was addressing the journalists in Kampala when midway the media raised the ongoing friction at the Uganda Land Commission, the government's land custodian.
ULC is under investigations by the IGG, police, and also we asked for a forensic audit from the Office of the Auditor General.
Without hesitation, Minister Nabakoba retorted.
We have to acknowledge that ULC is messed up. That is a fact. I cannot hide it. It is messy. We need to streamline it. We need to clean it. It needs processes to be in place. Right now, it is very difficult to finding processes. And as a minister, according to Article 117, I'm held individually accountable to HE on the administration of my ministry. And ULC is under this ministry. I cannot see it messy, and I keep quiet because I'm individually accountable to His Excellency, who is the appointing authority. This investigation was requested by them. They started it. So let us allow the due process of the law to take course. Whatever the outcome, we shall oblige. I've been here for less than 6 months. So I'm doing my work. Nze ndimbwa ya mugagga ekuuma gate. nyina okulongoosa bwe kiba kyetaagisa okulongoosa.
Earlier on Tuesday this week, Uganda Land Commission chairperson Beatrice Nyakaisiki Biancha told journalists that the dupe and quench for the land fund had landed her into trouble.
We just landed on a list from somewhere, and we found that over 677 people had been fully paid with their names and just landed on it.
Me, when you talk about the land fund, the commission is bigger than the land fund. Have they taken trouble to register government land wherever it is and keep it safe? Have you ever seen them saying that so and so is grabbing government land? We are under attack, you people. Where is the register? We need the register. Me, I have never accessed it for the last 5 months I've been here. So me, I'm looking at bigger things than the fund.
Although Biancha then noted that she is still in charge of the commission, having secured a court injunction over her interdiction by the IGG, Minister Judith Nabakoba reiterated that the office is under the guide of a tentative administration and open to members of the public.
Then there's a court order, interim court order. So the interim court order just deflates everything.
Everybody who is appointed by the president, we are not above the law. It is only the president who's not touched by the law. But the rest of us, we are not above the law. That's one thing. We let us not use the president's cover to stop or deny investigations to take place. Even if it's me, I cannot say, because I was appointed by the president, nobody is supposed to investigate me. No, let us not drag the president.
On the other hand, Lands Minister Judith Nabakoba told journalists that the 2022 ministry priorities is the amendment of the Land Act, the implementation of the Physical Planning Pact, among others. The ministry will also roll off the automation of its services by 1st March this year. Robert Onyango, UBC News.
Kampala Capital City Authority has carried out an operation downtown to evict traders off the streets as part of enforcing the 10th January deadline for Kampala free of street vendors. Saddam Mobali has this in detail.
Kampala Capital City Authority has carried out an operation in downtown Kampala to evict roadside traders off the streets as the mechanism of making Kampala free from roadside vendors.
Naye mbadde nsaba president ow'ekitiibwa taata ojjukire nti mu mabegakawo tubadde mu struggle, tubadde mu lockdown, embeera nga obadde ogiraba, wabaddewo endwadde, era nga nsaba otuleke tukole bambi.
Kati nga nze oyinza okyogera ku ekyo kya bulijjo okukolera ku street nga gwe bw'ova ewaka n'ogamba akajja okole, nange gwe nva ewange nga nze nkole ku street kuba siina sente nti ngenda kupangisa gundi ekizimbe wali nti oba ki.
Tubonaabona mu mbeera gye tubonaabonamu nzibu.
By press time, the ever-congested non-motorized transport corridor with roadside traders was empty. At Chikubo Lane, heavy deployment is seen with hundreds of stools used by roadside traders bungled on trucks.
Ate niwe nakola etya omutembe nga ffe abatemi tulina okusigala nga mwe tuli kubanga tetulina akulaga. Kati nze ndi mulema sobola kuyingira dduuka, sina sere neka bizinesi kange kano kati nakatwala mu dduuka nakasasuza ki.
In a hide-and-seek game, when vendors see KCCA enforcement personnel, they vanish from the streets with their merchandise and wait for the enforcement team to retreat and vending business resumes afresh.
Leero wazitekansera abayiseemu embeera nzikakkamu tubalinze naffe tulyoke tuteekewo olw'eggula oggulaawo naffe tulyoke tunoonyeemu kye tunoonyaamu.
Batugoba ku nguudo olw'ensonga batugamba tetukkirizibwa kukolera wano eno, naye ng'ekizibu ekiriyo mu butale gye batusindika obutale bwajjula, ekyokubiri bwa bbeeyi, n'ekyokusatu tetulina kapito gwe nnina taweza $200 bansindika mu katale nino sasula omudaala, sente zengenda okusasula omudaala ngenda zidda wanga ne kapito gwe nnina tawera.
Kampala Capital City Authority was given mandate to manage and control the city under Kampala Capital City Act 2010. Tumwine Brian Byaruhanga, UBC News.
We thank you so much for watching. And with that story, let's take a short break. Do not miss what we have on written.
Everyone deserves more this festive season, which is why MTN Momo is giving you more thank you points on your MTN Momo withdrawals at agent locations. Get 150 thank you points for every 1,000 shillings spent in withdrawal fees. More thank you points means you get more free minutes, more free MBs, more free SMSs, and more free Momo Pay shopping. To use your thank you points, dial *141#.
Everywhere you go, MTN. Raising voices.
As a teacher, I have the opportunity to shape how children grow and learn. I believe in creating a non-violent school where children feel safe and respected. I promise to lead by example and create a different kind of relationship with my learners, one that helps them grow.
In this time of COVID, what is your promise to the children of Uganda? Because a violence-free childhood is everyone's right. Raising voices.
Transact and win money after money with Airtel Money. 1.5 billion shillings in cash prizes up for grabs.
I'm Sandy Kadua Martin, a student of Chambogo University. I've been a lucky winner of 10 million Ugandan shillings, and I'm really excited as I'm ending this year with all that lots of money. Guys, it's real. Just dial *185#.
The more you transact, the higher your chances of winning. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Parents, guardians, and caregivers, there's a confirmed polio outbreak in Kampala, and therefore the Ministry of Health will conduct a national house-to-house polio immunization campaign. The first round of the campaign will take place from Friday, the 14th of January to Sunday, the 16th of January 2022 in all districts of Uganda. During the National House-to-House Polio Immunization Campaign, health workers will come to your homes and immunize all your children under 5 years of age. Please note that the National House-to-House Polio Immunization Campaign does not replace the routine immunization. The polio vaccine is safe, effective, and free.
Parents, guardians, and caregivers, please ensure that all your children under 5 years of age are immunized against polio during the National House-to-House Immunization Campaign from Friday 14th January to Sunday 16th January 2022. The dates for the second round of the campaign will be announced in due course. This message is from the Ministry of Health with support from UNICEF, World Health Organization, and partners.
Sasula, era gulanga okozesa Airtel Money. Owangula obutitimbe bw'ensimbi. Tutaddewo biliyoni mu n'ekitundu yakwewangulira buli lw'okozesa Airtel Money.
Sebali kwa Patrick, ndi agent wa Airtel Money, era nawangudde miliyoni 2. Era ndi musanyufu nnyo. Ndi awo nga nyiga *185# hasi.
Joko bokuza Airtel Money. Joko bonkuyora kafuwa siringi. Airtel Money ya buliwo yesigika teri konsalo. It's the 2021 Total Energies Africa Cup of Nations. Live, free, and exclusive to your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Enjoy convenience today with Airtel Money School Pay. Dial *185#. Select option 6, school fees. Select option 2, school pay. Select option 1, pay fees. Enter student number. Enter the amount. Enter the PIN number to complete payment. Beat the back-to-school hustle today. Pay school fees conveniently using Airtel Money. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Today in history.
Former President Nelson Mandela, only surviving son, Magatho Mandela, died of HIV/AIDS in the Linksfield Hospital in Johannesburg. His father put up a brave face and announced that his son had HIV/AIDS. He stressed that being open about HIV/AIDS was the only way to stop people regarding it as an extraordinary thing for which people go to hell and not to heaven.
Welcome back from the break and to UBC News Business. The Executive Director, Kampala Capital City Authority, Dorothy Chisaka, has disclosed that the law on people littering will be enacted to deal with offenders. She was visiting a plastic recycling factory and handing over briquette machines to the youth donated by Uganda Plastic Manufacturers Association.
As a measure to address unemployment in slum areas, Uganda Plastic Manufacturers and Recyclers Association have donated briquette making machines worth 100 million shillings. KCC Executive Director Dorothy Kisaka handed over the machines to the youth and advised them to utilize the machines to eradicate poverty.
This is a capital investment. This is a seed. This is a plant they've been given. They have to turn it into something useful. They have to invest work, they have to invest their labor, they have to bring the factors of production, which will turn these machines into something really profitable.
She, however, warned them against littering plastics and breaking the laws.
We don't have to be people who throw rubbish in that bad way. We need to think in a smart way, not only because somebody is looking at us, but because we are totally transformed. If I drink my bottle, I can keep it in my car or in my handbag until I get to a place where it can be disposed of.
The Uganda Plastic Manufacturers and Recyclers Association Executive Director Moses Ategeka appealed to everyone to get involved in addressing the issue of plastic waste.
The management of waste, plastic waste, which is a consulted effort by all and a need by all plastic players. Plastic players are supposed to install production lines and recycling lines so that they are able to collect from the field where they are littered, and then also pay those who collect them to feed the recycling factories. That's exactly what we're doing.
The presidential advisor on ghetto youth affairs, Mark Bugembe, says they are still faced with a challenge of getting a permanent place of operation.
Emirimu nga 10 gigenda kubeerawo newankubadde tulina challenge eriemu. Challenge eriemu gye tugenda okusinkana maama twine tugenda kutuuza byuma byaffe bino. Twetaaga ettaka tugenda okutuuza ebyuma bino mulo.
The machines are made in Uganda and are intended to address unemployment, mainly in slum areas. Story compiled by Andrew Sebira for UBC News.
On the international scene, the world's biggest tech show, the Consumer Electronics Show, opened on Wednesday despite Omicron spread. As thousands descend in Las Vegas this week for a glimpse of the latest gadgets and innovations at the Consumer Electronics Show, with concerns growing over the spread of transmissible Omicron variant that has seen companies such as Amazon.com Inc. and General Motors Corporations drop out of attending the Las Vegas event in person.
CES opening day typically produces a mad rush to be first to the exhibit booths. This year, it's socially distancing and relative calm, a far cry from previous year crowds of 170,000 people. But many are just happy the show happened at all.
I am absolutely thrilled to get back to being with people who are focusing on innovation in a very big way.
While numerous big tech companies like Microsoft and Amazon pulled out of in-person events, Sony continued its traditional Media Day show. Spider-Man and Sony Pictures star Tom Holland made a special appearance introducing his new movie Uncharted, which is based on a video game.
I think when you watch this film, you'll really feel
the authenticity of the action and the fighting and the stunts, and nothing will seem fake.
Sony also revealed yet another ambition. On my left, you can see the Vision S EV concept car that was shown before, but they just unveiled the Vision S number 2 model. Very few details on specifications, but it all goes to show how tech companies are unafraid to cross into new frontiers.
Local sports disciplines are lining up games after the festivity break. The Rugby League returns over the weekend with 6 games. The biggest highlight is the game between Warriors and Rhinos, as Ngabo Amon tells.
The season this Saturday.
We've been able to promote some of our players from the junior team. We've had guys doing pre-season with the club and individually, so I believe our players have been putting in the work, and this season they deserve to showcase their efforts. So I believe in the players, and they have done great this pre-season. So we are properly prepared mentally and physically.
Unlike before, more activations, prize money and better organization are at play after confirming of a 2.6 billion shilling sponsorship package from Nile Breweries. Nile Breweries takes over the league for a period of 3 years in what they termed as a league of unmatched, in line with Nile Special, recently unmatched in God-launched campaign.
To us, the new package is a reaffirming the relationship between Rugby and Nile Breweries, because it's important to have a sponsor and a assured sponsor. And why it's very important and key is the fact that for the first time we've signed a 3-year contract. We normally sign 1 year. We're not sure about what's going to happen, but now we're sure at least for the next 3 years we are moving with Now Special, the partner for the league. So it's very important, and with the return to play, the issues we have gone through, there's no better way than signing this contract when the economy is getting back to normal.
COVID-19 affected the league, limiting the number of spectators at every venue. But with the full reopening of the economy, the Rugby Union assures of standard operating procedures. Other games lined up over the weekend include Rams hosting Mongas at Makerere, Athens up against Buffaloes at Chadondo.
That way we come to the end of our first edition of News Tonight. Thank you so much for watching. We'll get back with a bigger arrangement at 10 p.m. My name is Michael Jordan Lukoma. With Yusuf Senyomo, I beg your pardon, and the whole team. We'll get back to you at 10 p.m. I'll get back to you in just a few seconds with the ICT Ministry moment.
Everyone deserves more this festive season, which is why MTN Momo is giving you more Secu points on your MTN Momo withdrawals at agent locations. Get 150 Secu points for every 1,000 shillings spent in withdrawal fees. More Secu points means you get more free minutes, more free MBs, more free SMSs, and more free Momo Pay shopping. To use your Secu points, dial *141#.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Enjoy convenience today with Airtel Money School Pay, FlexiPay, or Bridge Schools. To pay school fees using FlexiPay, dial *185#. Select option 6, School Fees. Select option 3, FlexiPay. Enter the school code. Enter the student number. Enter the amount. Enter the PIN number to complete payment. Pay school fees conveniently using Airtel Money. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Shopping needs this Christmas. Come to Capital
shoppers, we have a variety of items like gift hampers, foods, garments, cosmetics, and all sorts of drinks. Enjoy your shopping experience this festive season at affordable prices in our fully stocked branches in the following areas: in Tinder Station Road, opposite Makere Business School along Port Bell Road, Duster Street opposite Nakasero Market, and Garden City on Yusuf Lule Road. To all our customers and suppliers, we thank you for your continuous support. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Stay safe, wash your hands, sanitize, and wear your mask always.
The family of Mr. Chibedi Ismail of Kabuuma village, Wakiso district, announces the disappearance of their daughter Habiba Nakasua, a 16-year-old senior 1 student of Green Stars High School, Entebbe. Habiba Nakasua was sent to a nearby shop to buy groceries on 15th December 2021 and has not returned yet. The family appeals to whoever has seen Habiba Nakasua to contact the parents on 0772 896 265 or 0701 896 265 or report to the nearest police station. A big reward awaits.
Parents, guardians, and caregivers, there's a confirmed polio outbreak in Kampala, and therefore the Ministry of Health will conduct a national house-to-house polio immunization campaign. The first round of the campaign will take place from Friday, the 14th of January to Sunday, the 16th of January 2022 in all districts of Uganda. During the National House-to-House Polio Immunization Campaign, health workers will come to your homes and immunize all your children under 5 years of age. Please note that the National House-to-House Polio Immunization Campaign does not replace the routine immunization. The polio vaccine is safe, effective, and free.
Parents, guardians, and caregivers, please ensure that all your children under 5 years of age are immunized against polio during the National House-to-House Immunization Campaign from Friday 14th January to Sunday 16th January 2022. The dates for the second round of the campaign will be announced in due course. This message is from the Ministry of Health with support from UNICEF, World Health Organization, and partners.
Yes, we thank you so much for watching. Welcome back from the news. We'll now continue with the discussion in this minute, this time, secured for the Ministry of ICT National Guidance, and we call it the ICT Moment, where we discuss issues related to national guidance for the good of our beautiful country, Uganda. This evening, we're going to look at gender parity as a key ingredient for national development. And my guest is Miss Brandy Azire Valentine. Yes. You're most welcome.
Thank you very much.
What's the meaning of your name, Azire?
Azire means...
We'll start on the light. Yes.
Azire means has been born.
Wow.
Yeah, so I think because I was born on Valentine's Day, they were like, love has been born, but that's not the point, is it?
Wow. I guessed right.
Yeah.
Okay. The person watching us would love to know, when we talk of gender parity, what exactly is meant?
When we talk of gender parity, one, we're talking ratios. The ratio of, we're talking ratios, we're talking measures of equality. The ability of the equal number of men and women or boys and girls to seek a particular service of choice or be whoever they want to be or access a particular health service or get even paid equally in a particular place of work.
Not to be looked at as female or male,
or male,
but all looked at as same.
No, more like they'll see you as male,
yes.
They'll see you as female, but still see you as all human beings that deserve the same opportunities, the same payment if we're doing the same job, and the same representation in the spaces we exist.
So what key role does that play when it comes to national development?
One, there is so much that gender parity will play in as we move forward, from sector development to health to wealth and capital accumulation. Let's say if different people are employed in different places, if the health sector was employing, let's say, doctors, and they're like 5 male doctors, 5 female, regardless of whether is it pediatrics, is it surgery, just the fact that I'm doing my job and you're doing your job, you're getting paid and I'm getting paid, that means I'm also investing somewhere. I'm probably going to the supermarket, or I'm paying for like my brother's fees, or I'm doing something just the way you're also doing something.
Exactly.
Eventually, in the long run, it affects how much we make as a country, because eventually we all have to pay taxes at some point.
Okay.
Then secondly, it helps with women's stature, because over time we have been, women have been crying, not even necessarily, there's been like this whole movement on, let's empower the woman, let's empower the girl child, let's do this. So if all these efforts are being put, and then you find that eventually different people will graduate on different levels, and then I'm doing work for free, or even 20% than the other guy, then what was the point of the fight that started a long time ago? Then another thing is, another reason why gender parity is important is that it helps with planning. Because when you know what the problem, they say half the solution of any problem is knowing the problem
itself.
So if you say, at school, I remember in one of the schools I attended before, they would have like, on the corner of the blackboard, they would have a rota, boys, girls, total. So eventually, if you found that your class had more of the other, the chances were really high that next term, some people were going to be moved so that there is space for
balance,
for parity, yes. So that when you participate in class, you have different views, but you're on the same page because you've been learning the same things.
Ideally, what would be the best measures to ensure parity targeting national development?
One, if we're able to set a living wage, a minimum living wage, that he or she, this is the minimum wage, because again, I have to purchase a kilo of sugar, I have to buy rice, I have to do. But if there's a minimum wage where I work and where you work, then everyone, you reduce the chances of some people getting paid more or others not getting paid at all.
Okay.
Then secondly, I think, of course, advocating for equal pay has always been the bigger...
That's the ideal.
The ideal.
Yes, from there I'm bringing you home to the practical Uganda that we are.
Yes.
First, give me the ideal picture.
The ideal?
What would be the real measures to ensure parity, targeting, having it as a key ingredient in as far as national development is concerned?
Okay. One, I believe if we're able to invest in policies and programs that create a balance, like if you're training, I want to give a very practical example.
Go on.
And a practical example is a hospital. You're going to enter a hospital and you're going to find people in white coats. He, she, that's okay.
Yes.
When it comes down to the nurses, 85% to 90% are going to be female. But when it comes to the doctors, you'll find that they're like 60% male doctors and 40% female. So when you find that that ingredient happens, it increases a gap in so many things. But when that happens, you realize, okay, let's give an example. A woman has been married to this gentleman. And because of all this lack of parity and everything, the ratios don't add up. Then eventually he dies. And now she has to get back in the game. How is that going to be?
Of course, stressing.
It's going to be stressing. She's probably going to be starting from zero. But if we start this young, if we start when the people are still young, as they grow, it becomes not unheard of, yeah? You find that, fine, I wouldn't wish it on anyone, but if someone is widowed, they have an autonomy to start with, yeah?
Yes.
They have a ground to, they also get to invest and subsidize on the children's nutrition or their school pay and stuff like that. But parity, most importantly, it just levels the field that if I have a skill, if I know what I know, I'm able to add it to the table for the development of me, the community around me, and the bigger picture of our country.
Okay, now I want to bring you back home,
Yes.
Kampala, Uganda, 256.
Okay.
What would you think is our scorecard in terms of having parity as an ingredient, key, in terms of national development? What would be our scorecard so far?
On the scale of what to what?
I don't know, you can...
Okay, on the scale of 1 to 10.
Yes.
We're above average. I mean, I'm here, you're there.
Good.
Yeah.
Where are the gaps so far? Actually, let's start with the positive.
Yeah.
What has enabled us go beyond average like you?
One, when we recognized when the problem was there. We recognized and we took up and gave the 1.5 to the girl child. However, that also I feel like now the boy is starting to slack. I saw the results of how people performed last year. I was like, oh my goodness, the boy child now also needs the 1.5. But that's
no.
that's a discussion for another day.
Yes.
Yeah, but I feel like we need, when we create a balance, then we get to move up. Like, for example, in the election, February.
Yes.
After January, but after, yeah, when we finished everything in February, you realize that more people were appointed, more women and men were appointed in different offices, such as permanent secretaries and ministers. There were more women representing. And I feel like another reason why we're above average is the people who come, the people above, the older people, take it upon themselves to mentor the younger people. So when they come into these spaces, they're not necessarily facing the problems they faced when they were around their spectrum, but they are giving you more information on how you can do better. Like, oh my goodness, you're in this space now, you're making this much, you should be able to save up for a day like this, you should be able to build up on your education, get a master's and do that and stuff like that. And also, we live as a community. That's one thing I've learned to appreciate about this country. We live as a community. All of us, one thing is up in the morning and it's trending with everyone. So when there is a problem, everyone takes it as...
It concerns all of us.
It concerns
Don't you think at the lower levels of Uganda, deep in Kisoro, down in Arua,
yeah,
down in Iganga,
yeah,
to that woman in the village, that man in the village, our people at the lowest level, do you see gender parity? Or definitely we can only talk about it at some levels of you and me and those people above us?
Yeah, I see gender parity still.
At those levels? At a rate that can really affect national development positively?
We are on the way. We are on the way. Because I feel like people on that spectrum that you're talking about have become very accustomed and comfortable with a particular way of doing things.
Really?
This is, we are being realistic, aren't we?
Exactly.
Like, yeah, so you find that in some spaces, there's gender roles are stuck and they're there to stay. Like a man will do this, the woman will do that.
Good.
And the thing is, where parity will come in for me, however, is the man is going to go and probably do the marketing. He will do the part that involves bringing in the money inside. And then the woman is going to do the part where she will take care of the kids. That's not unquantifiable. It's not like you're going to get a paycheck.
How do we get out of that? Because you realize that it's actually affecting us 60% in areas where we are lagging in terms of getting the parity that will affect national development.
Yeah.
How do we get out of that, in your view?
In my view,
yes.
How do we get out of that? First and foremost, I think we should invest in policies. I said this before and I'm going to say it again. We need to invest in policies and programs that talk about occupational sex role, job roles. Like they say, this job is for men, this job is for women. We need to find a way where we also call upon the private sector to make it part of their working ways and say, fine, we have these slots in top leadership and we have these many in the senior leadership. How do we find a way where everyone is involved? Or you find that the engineers are both men and women, but you find like the engineering board that certifies you as an engineer has like 7 men and like 3 women. And probably the day you're supposed to be certified, they're like 8 people. So that means like 2 women, and 6 men. So which makes people, which creates already an environment that is not favorable for gender parity.
Okay.
So I just feel like if everyone, the onus is on everyone.
You think it's about the policies?
I think it's about the policies. I think it's an individual thing, it's a communal thing, and then it's also a national.
When you look at the levels that I brought in, because now that's the real Ugandan who understands this country in a certain version that actually needs serious attention.
Yeah.
We have so many of you, our sisters, mothers, wives, the females, who have reached some levels.
Yes.
You talked about the appointments that were made, where allocations were made on your side in big numbers. How much can you do to uplift your sisters from the grassroots to fight for their space and ensure that they really enjoy it? Not only for their own, but to have the parity for national development.
First and foremost, we need to understand that uplifting the girl child is not the role of the woman. It's a role of me and you. I do something, you do something, and then a girl child from probably, what did you say, Kisoro? Okay. Yeah, a girl child from Kumi, a girl child from Gulu gets liberated. You find out that there are places where people are still carrying out FGM in this point of time. You say, that's not right. You don't have to wait for another woman to come and say, I don't think we should be doing like this. It should be also you as a man to be able to say, I don't think early marriages are right because you're robbing this girl of a chance of having a career she could have.
Okay.
We need to take a sense of...
So much as we have a role to play, backing you up in fighting for this space, what is your role as the mothers of this nation?
I beg your pardon?
Yes, in terms of fighting for this parity, to ensure that the space of a woman is there for her to enjoy it the way she has to enjoy it.
Educate the sons and daughters about gender parity while they're still young, so that as they grow, this is not stuff that is new. When you find people fight, you know the times people find boys fighting and they let them be and they go like, that's a boy thing. And then when girls are fighting, like, how can you behave yourself like that? But yet, at the bottom line of the bottomness, fighting is wrong, because this is how things like domestic violence grow in our society. So if you're able to just cite out, if you're able to educate yourself on things like this, then you're able to educate your neighbor who's able to educate another. And I feel like that's how we guide one another.
There are factors I want us to look at.
Like which one?
We have a very big number of young people currently. How can we take that factor to promote gender parity for national development?
For national development?
Yes.
First, I think we need to...
A group of very many young people with an advantage of technology, social media, education at their disposal and all that. How can we take good use of this big group that has all these platforms to score that goal?
One, I also think we need to have more campaigns on issues like this. This is one of the issues I think we call cross-cutting issues. Yeah, we need to have more campaigns that not only inform, but then they also engage these young people.
Okay.
Because when they're engaged, then they know better, then they do better, then they push for better. Then I also think that as we train people in different sectors, we need to be mindful of the numbers in the spaces we train. No one should be comfortable with having an ICT class with 40 male students and 5 female, or it shouldn't. You need
40 female students with 3 male.
Even if it's 40 male, 3 female, or 3 female,
or the other way around.
It shouldn't be something comfortable for you. It should be something you should be working to enhance. You say, okay, this happened this year. How do we do better? When you're able to tap yourself on the back and say, slow down. There's something wrong here. How do I fix it? How do I work with the people in my same field to fix it?
You've heard of stories of children that have gotten pregnant during this lockdown alone.
That's true.
How do we stop such things that happen to the girl child? if we want her to run at the same par with the boy child, when there are such challenges that are still persistent in our communities, in our way of life?
Yeah. Well, Michael, we need to educate, one, the girl child about things like this. And second of all, we need to go back to the policies that, we need to create policies that stop things like this.
Okay.
And we need to also be, they always say be your brother's keeper, but I'm saying we need to also be our sister's keeper. Yeah, because, I mean, the people who marry these children, they don't come from space, they come from here. And also the girls who get married at a very young age, they don't come from space, they're still members of our society. So how does this happen? Michael, tell me, how?
Who do you think has to be blamed or has to be checked? Because these are children.
Yeah.
They're under somebody's guidance and things like that.
Yeah.
They have a whole government above them, they have a structure of government, then their families, communities with leaders. Who sleeps at their job in their different roles?
I feel like when we start the blame game, then it never ends.
But somebody has to take a responsibility. Somebody has a role to play at different levels.
Yeah. But okay, so Michael, what do you say could cause an issue where you read the news and you find out girl X was sold by Uncle B for over 100K on the
Let me tell you, definitely this is how I will interpret. There is a police officer who is asleep on their duty because they have to be having all the information around the villages.
Okay.
There is an LC man who does not watch the children that have not gone to school, who has to know about all the weddings, and he knows the laws in Uganda say the only girl that is allowed to get married is 18 or above. So somebody is asleep and not playing their role. Don't you agree with me?
All I actually agree with you is we need to just be more vigilant.
Okay.
Because you can't do the blame game. It never pays off. But when you're able to all take up the fact that there's a problem and it's our problem as a whole, nothing can go wrong. We go to the village for Christmas and then you find a one cousin who was like 12 the other time, all of a sudden she's like not around anymore. Then you go back the next year and you're like, ah, she was gone. I'm like, how? But then you can't distance yourself from that, but you just have to be cautious.
What do you think other countries do to ensure such positive figures when it comes to gender parity? Yes, you have talked about the policies and all that, but I don't think it's just the policies that will give us the results. What do you think other countries do to ensure that they score?
One, communication can rule a nation, so they communicate. Two, I believe they are intentional with the numbers, like, because when you do, the only way you can know there's a problem is if you do a survey. You count, you ask people in the society, how is this happening, then all of a sudden you have a report. When you have a report, you have facts and figures, and numbers don't lie. When the numbers are there, you see it as a caucus of, sometimes they call it the elders, other times it's the government. You sit and see, there's a problem here. How do we fix it?
Okay, as we wind up, how do you think we can have gender parity as a key ingredient towards our national development? In a wrap-up, in your own view, for the good of this beautiful country.
One, I think, what did you say again?
What do you think would be the best thing to do to ensure gender parity as a key ingredient?
As a key ingredient.
For the good of our country.
Oh, that reminds me. There was a time we were doing gender and equity issues under the Ministry of Finance, and Ministry of Finance in partnership with the UN Women. We had to sit down and do the gender and equity issues that have been cross-cutting in the previous NDP so that they don't happen again. And I feel like my point will still stay the same. We need to be cautious of one another and of our society, and then also we need to be able to raise a skill of another if you have one. Because you just don't know what that skill you're going to pass on to someone. You don't know what's going to do for them. You absolutely don't. And I also feel like we just need to communicate as much as we can. You see, the only reason, I'll give an example, the only reason Premier League continues to trend is because those guys the communication is always up.
They push it.
They push it. And I feel like that's what we need to do. We need to push it so that it's also as important as the health system. It's as important as the taxes people pay. It's as important as the toll-free or the express what? And the express.
So as we're seeing the SOPs for COVID, emphasize the toll
fee and all these other things.
Yes.
That's the same.
Issues pertaining to gender parity.
Yeah.
Should also be sung.
Yeah. Like in a medical form, it's like saying we're going to offer a lot of money for cancer care, diabetes, but then you're not willing to offer a particular unequivalent budget for mental health and stuff like that. Then that means there's no parity in that sector, because then you're picking one disease and making it more important than the other. So it's the same with gender.
So we should allocate more resources to it and more attention to it.
And more, yes, and awareness, and then we need to be mindful of it. Be cautious as you hire, be it in the private sector, be it in the NGOs, be it in the top management. You find that the part that hurts the most actually is you find that two people are doing the same job, and one is probably volunteering because of who they are, and the other is getting paid big money because they think, even when he's single, they say, this is a man, he has a family to feed. Yes. What if the woman also has a family to take care of? Yeah, so give everyone what they came for. If I come 8 to 5 and you come 8 to 5 and we're doing the same job, you lose nothing if you give me the same check.
Thank you so much, Brandy Hazire Valentine, for the time and all that we have shared. Yes, gender parity is so much to do with looking at each one of us as equal, all of us as equal, and in terms of our national development. If we look at people as others, short, tall, women, what, it will affect the growth and development of our country in everything, in it, all aspects of its growth. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Michael Jonalukuma. Let me catch you at 10 with more news. Bye-bye for now. Thank you so much, Brandy.
You're welcome.
Transact and win money after money with Airtel Money. 1.5 billion shillings in cash prizes up for grabs. The more you transact, the higher your chances of winning. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless. It's the 2021 Total Energies Africa Cup of Nations. Live, free, and exclusive to your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Parents, guardians, and caregivers, there's a confirmed polio outbreak in Kampala, and therefore the Ministry of Health will conduct a national house-to-house polio immunization campaign. The first round of the campaign will take place from Friday, the 14th of January to Sunday, the 16th of January 2022 in all districts of Uganda. During the National House-to-House Polio Immunization Campaign, health workers will come to your homes and immunize all your children under 5 years of age. Please note that the National House-to-House Polio Immunization Campaign does not replace the routine immunization. The polio vaccine is safe, effective, and free.
Parents, guardians, and caregivers, please ensure that all your children under 5 years of age are immunized against polio during the National House-to-House Immunization Campaign from Friday 14th January to Sunday 16th January 2022. The dates for the second round of the campaign will be announced in due course. This message is from the Ministry of Health with support from UNICEF, World Health Organization, and partners.
Qualified, professional, and compassionate doctors talking real solutions to real health problems.
It's a new virus and we don't know much about it yet, but
it's everywhere. It doesn't make a sound. The person next to you, even you yourself, could actually have it. This is a highly infectious agent right now. And as we have seen from this second wave in Uganda, it's highly transmissible.
COVID-19 is going to be with us for a long time. And we need to prepare to live with it. And living with it requires that we comply with the SOPs. It requires that we vaccinate. And when treatment, which is definitive, comes on board, we embrace it.
For infection to happen, there has to be someone who is vulnerable and someone who has the disease.
the spread is mainly by what we call droplet infection. But for purposes of our viewers, I'll simplify it as you cough and then the sputum or what jumps and falls on the person in front of you, the one you have coughed to. That is one of the methods, especially passing through the soft tissues, the eyes, the nose, and the mouth. So that is one of the commonest.
The droplets, because they contain some bit of water, they are relatively heavy. So when you cough, it can move just about a meter. Okay. So they will drop down when somebody coughs.
And then somebody comes and touches here, and then contaminates his fingers. And then later he touches his face, the eyes, the nose, and the mouth. So, and then he gets it.
The main reason why this lockdown, including also the social distancing, is implemented is that we stop this action, that I am unable with my infection to infect another person.
You stay where you are
we stay where we are
until you recover.
And two, from the time I am infected, they are, it takes, usually the symptoms develop 2 to 12 days after. And during this period, I am more likely to spread this disease. But from the time the person is infected, within 2 to 5 days, that person can actually spread the disease, whether with or without symptoms. Now, depending on how good your immune system is, your body may control this infection and you may not show any signs. You may not fall sick.
They may not. So there are people who can get the virus, but they don't have signs.
They may not have signs. The body controls it, fights it, and it passes away. Or you may just have a period where you feel unwell a bit, but it may pass away.
It goes away.
It may go away. But it may also have mild symptoms. So like the usual flu, you may have a sore throat, you may have a cold, your nose may run, you develop a cough, and some fever, and it may end there, just like the other flu.
Just like that.
Appears to be slightly different or different from the other types of flu is that its likelihood of causing a higher fever, causing a dry cough, and then invading the lungs and causing difficulty in breathing. That person
so it feels like a pneumonia.
Yes, like a pneumonia, like you just fail to breathe. You really struggle to breathe. And many of the people who are dying is because of the breathing complications which they do get. So our bodies are designed in such a way that when a foreign object, a germ, enters the body.
Like that coronavirus.
For example, the coronavirus.
When it enters the body.
So the body recognizes it. We have the white blood cells and other cells in the body which fight germs, which fight foreign objects, any germ, whether bacteria, whether a parasite like malaria, or a virus like corona. The body tends to recognize these things and know that this is an intruder. And these intruders will not be in our system.
So that's the immune system.
The immune system, our immune system recognizes it and puts an arsenal to play. And these arsenals include some cells which actively comes, gets these intruders and kills them, or they produce antibodies. And these antibodies coat the arsenal, limit its movement, restricts its movement. It's like you grab and and then you have these cells which come and kill them.
So in other words, the immune system of the body kills
these viruses. So over the course of the period, the person initially, the first few days, the body will not have recognized or will have not built enough immune response to develop and restrict or kill this object. And it may take a few days before the body puts this together. And so you start feeling unwell, you may have the cough, you may have the sore throat, and you may develop eventually the difficulty in breathing. But when the body organizes itself, and then it's able to put up a fight. It's a real war. Yes,
and it's ready to start.
Yes, a real war within your body. Then it moves, it controls it, and at the end, it defeats the virus. Now, if a situation arises where your body's immunity fails to kill the virus can really throw you down, or it may even kill you.
So when we are infected with an infectious agent, a virus, for example, COVID-19, the coronavirus that causes COVID-19, our body responds, it fights back by building up an immunity through whether it's cells or we call them antibodies, to be able to fight back. And when we recover, our bodies retain a certain memory that allows us to quickly recognize and fight back when the same agent attacks our bodies again. So this is what happens when we get vaccinated as well. Yeah. You can use a vaccine to activate our bodies to also develop that defense mechanism. So we can get that defense mechanism either through a vaccine or natural infection. Okay. Now, when that happens, you as an individual, we could say you are immune to this disease and you might not get it again, or if you get it, perhaps it will be more mild than someone who has never got it before. Now, when you have several people within the community that have that kind of defense mechanism, you get to a point where the disease cannot easily move from one person to the other. But when you have a significant proportion